In photos, government policies in last 2 years developed the economy and protected citizens, Egypt PM tells parliament. Madbouly said the government has been committed to informing people and the House of Representatives on the developments in implementing its policy program over the past 2 years. He explained that the government presented 3 reports to the previous House since the current cabinet took office in June 2018, the latest of which was in November last year. The House of Representatives had summoned on Sunday the Prime Minister to present on the government's overall policies. After the Prime Minister concluded his speech to the Parliament, the Speaker of the House of Representatives Hanifi El Gabli hailed the government's program, saying it reflects the presidential comprehensive and ambitious vision toward 2030. El Gabli affirmed the importance of continuing productive cooperation between the government and the House. He noted that more ministers will come to the Parliament's headquarters later to deliver their speeches. Investments, unemployment and national projects. The PM told the House that the government's total investments over the past 2 years amounted to EGP 324 billion. The inflation rate decreased to 5.7%, the lowest in 14 years, Madbouly said, adding that the government managed to control prices of food commodities and increase the supply of strategic goods. Egypt's newly seated House of Representatives had summoned on Sunday the Prime Minister and other ministers to present and answer questions on the government's Egypt Kicks Off program. The Premier hailed the role of the national projects implemented by the state in securing more job opportunities, noting that the unemployment rate has dropped back down to 7.3%. The unemployment rate during the third quarter of the fiscal year 2019/20 was 7.7%, but later increased to 9.6% owing to the coronavirus pandemic, Madbouly said. He added the measures taken by the state amid the pandemic pushed the unemployment rate down to 7.3% in the first quarter of the current fiscal year. Madbouly added that the government has completed the construction of 53 sewage treatment plants nationwide over the past 2 years. Energy. In the energy field, Madbouly said the total value of the state's investment in research, development, and operation efforts reached $11 billion over the last 2 years. He also said another $50 million in oil and gas were invested in the field. As many as 3.7 million pre-charged and smart electricity meters have been installed nationwide to collect electrical bills. By 2023, Egypt will achieve self-sufficiency in petroleum products, Madbouly said. The country managed to achieve self-sufficiency in natural gas last year, he explained, adding that government recently converted 141 areas nationwide to natural gas, he explained. The state has constructed 7 seawater desalination plants with a total capacity of 250,000 cubic meters and a cost of EGP 4 billion, the PM said, noting that these plants serve 1.4 million citizens in Red Sea cities. With a total investment of EGP 34 billion, the state generated an additional 2,700 megawatts of power, he added. Fighting the pandemic. On coronavirus, Madbouly said the government's efforts has spared the Egyptian people from the worst repercussions of the pandemic and continued normal operations during hard and cruel times. The PM said Egypt managed to balance the scales between protecting citizens' lives and keeping the economy open during the pandemic. He added that the government has known since the start of the crisis that closing the economy would eventually leave the country in a bad place. Egypt has been among the best countries in the world in dealing with the pandemic and has been one of the countries least affected by the virus, he said. He added that Egypt ranked second after China in terms of economic development in 2020. Madbouly stressed that Egypt's efforts in the face of the pandemic have been hailed internationally. Foreign policy on the Libyan crisis and the dispute over the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, GERD, Madbouly said that the state has adopted balanced policies in dealing with foreign powers. He affirmed that Egypt's foreign policy aims at maintaining balance, supporting the security of Arab Gulf countries, while protecting the country's national security. Fighting poverty. Madbouly affirmed the importance the government attaches to poor classes, noting that 32 million citizens have been included under various social protection programs. He added that the government has granted cash support to around 3.6 million families. The state's policies over the past period lowered the poverty rate for the first time in 20 years to 29.7%, down from 32.5% in 2017 to 2018. Developing Upper Egypt. On the government's program to develop Upper Egypt, the PM said 2,575 developmental projects have been implemented in Cana and Sohag governorates as part of the program's first phase. He noted that around 205,000 direct and indirect job opportunities have been created through these projects. Madbally added the president directed the government to include 50 towns nationwide in the second phase of the program next year. Transportation milestones. Egypt jumped up 90 ranks in the World Economic Forum's Global Competitive Report in the quality of road infrastructure, Madbally said, leaping to the 28th place instead of 118th in 2014. Madbally said the state has already constructed roads across the country, with a total length of 45,00 kilometers. A new transportation network for the new cities is also being implemented, Madbally said, including a high-speed electric train system or monorail. So far, Egypt has imported 250 locomotives and 1,300 rail carriages as part of its overall efforts to develop the railway system, the premier said, adding that relevant authorities also developed existing locomotives and rail carriages. He also said that the government is upgrading and linking the railway's signaling systems for the first time to achieve the best levels of security for citizens.